Hello again. This is Theolyn. This is SoulSchool. If you've been following this series, you'll know that I had some technical glitches the other day. Fingers crossed. Everything will run smoothly this time. And we are now going to talk about the sun and the moon in the chart. So those two luminaries, the greater light, the sun, and the lesser light, the moon, are obviously significant players in an astrological chart. And the relationship that they have, which comes under the title of the moon's phase, will also be very significant in the way things work for you in this lifetime. Are you born under a new moon? Are you born under a full moon? Are you born when the moon is dark? Those are things that astrologers look at. We also look at the placement of the sun by its zodiac sign, obviously, and most people know what sign of the zodiac they are. Although one interesting thing to consider is that the sun can change signs during the course of a day. The sun could be in the sign of Pisces very early one morning, and by tea time it's gone into Aries. So that's something that is really crucial in many ways. And one can actually identify that by having a conversation with people if they don't actually know the time they were born precisely. But this precision of finding out when your birth happened is really useful. In some countries in the world, the time of the birth is recorded on the birth certificate. That doesn't always happen. And it can't always be entirely relied upon, because midwives are, notoriously in the past anyway, have said, oh, well, it was about 1:15, wasn't it? I was at the birth of one of my grandchildren and the midwife called out 4:17, and so we all knew exactly what the time was, but that's quite unusual. Also knowing the time from the point of view of looking at the moon is useful because, like the sun, the moon can change signs during the day. So those are two crucial placements in your chart that you need to consider when you're thinking about your soul's journey. The sun represents your divine power, if you like. It's what your soul has got to work with in the way of élan vital, the vitality of living. What kind of energy is that? Is it spring energy? Were you born in the springtime? Is it summer energy? Is it autumn energy? Is it winter energy? All those 4 seasons have an effect on how the sun radiates in the world and the time of year that you were born, irrespective actually of whether you know anything about zodiac signs. The time of year that you were born will obviously have an effect on the newborn baby when it arrives in the world. Is it going to be taken out in its pram and perhaps all its little clothes are taken off and it's sunned in the garden in May and June? That happened with one of my babies. Or does a baby arrive, in October, November, just before the frost set in and you get snowed in? That happened to another of my babies. And I make sure they were well wrapped up. So think of that from an environmental point of view, even if you're not looking at it from an astrological perspective. So that sun is energy for the soul to work with. Now the moon reflects the sun and is there to allow the sun to give light even when the sun is not in the sky. But sometimes, of course, the moon doesn't give us any light. So again, it's this interplay, this dance between the relationship between the sun and the moon, and the way they harmonize and work together, that an astrologer will look at very particularly when they read your chart. And you get to know what effort you can make with the help of the sun and the help of the moon. Excuse me. So I want you to think that the sun gives you power. It gives your soul the passion and the drive that it requires to live a life. And that the moon is there as a kind of reflector and supporter and a mirror which will assist that process. So when we look at the different signs that the sun and the moon are in, we ask ourselves, does this moon give something into the system that will help the sun, or will it put a brake on the sun? The sun might be in a powerful fire sign like Aries or Leo, and then the moon might be in an earth sign, which would perhaps make the sun feel a bit, this is a bit slow. But then that actually might be useful, that it's slowed down the sun's energy. All this coming and going and balancing of the elements, they all are factored in with your birth chart. And we must respect the fact that the soul has made the choices. So there's nothing good or bad about where the sun's placed or where the moon's placed. Old astrologers used to talk about detriments and fall or exaltation. But I think the sun and the moon and all the other planets as well are in the places that they are in because that has been the soul's choice. And while I'm not a stoical person, or you've got to put up with your fate, there is an element here of you have chosen the palette that you are going to work with as an artist. You have chosen all the different factors that are going to go into your story. Those are the factors that you do have to work with. You do have to make the best of the potentials, the opportunities, and the challenges as well. The hardships, which will assist you in growing and becoming a more human person, a more deeply human being that you can be while you're in this world, while at the same time carrying with you the knowledge of your own divinity, the knowledge that this is a time that you're in, and at some point you will leave, and you might come back, or you might not. And knowing that and having this sense of potency because you are divine in your essence will assist you working through any issues that arise, whether they're to do with those old things I was talking about before, about ancestry that you've inherited and karma that's, in your family and all that kind of thing. If you think of yourself initially as a soul, as a divine essence, and that this practical stuff that you have to deal with, the how to live your life manual, which is your horoscope, is a tool for your spiritual evolution, then there's a special sense of confidence that can arise with that. It doesn't magically answer every problem, but it can give you the confidence to know that you can work in this world as a soul and come out of it feeling that was a job well done. I might go back and try it again. Or that was a job well done. I think I'll take a rest in the higher heavens for a few generations and then I'll have another look. Many blessings. Oh, it seems as though I had a dark screen again. I apologise for that. I thought I'd sorted it. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to come back for the next episode. Episode 4, we'll be talking about your guiding angel or your guardian angel or your daimon, as the Greeks called it. See you again soon. Blessings.